We are 1 year into the Trump presidency, and I guess it's good that at least he's unpopular considering the madness of each new day. Two major polls out last week show just 40% approve of how he's doing as president, which if you are inclined, you can also read as 40 people approve of the job he's doing as president, but good, at least it's not even close to half, let alone the majority. A Washington Post average of polls in January finds 57% of Americans disapprove of how he's handling the country. And that is the good news. It's the one bit of good news. Jon Stewart on his last podcast said, we often make these comparisons between Trump and Hitler, but let's bear in mind, Hitler was popular. That is the major distinction between the two. People do not like what Trump is doing. Instantly, they started to dislike what he's doing. So we have that going for us. And the biggest issue, I don't know if it should be the biggest issue, but the biggest issue right now is the economy for him. Just 3 in 10 Americans rate the economy positively, while 55% say that his policies have worsened economic conditions in the country. That is, of course, not high enough, considering that it is not a debatable fact whether his policies have worsened things or not. The tariffs are just a drag on the economy. They are not bringing manufacturing jobs. They're not bringing jobs of any kind. And so, but good, 55% of Americans can acknowledge that the sky is blue, so huzzah. The last time that voters felt mostly positive about his handling the economy was 1 month into his administration. So the first poll was positive, and then it went off a cliff, okay? And consumer sentiment rallied when he won the election. People had hope, but cratered during the chaotic early days of his administration, which now seem stable by comparison to what we're doing right now. For much of last year, well over half of the people responding to the University of Michigan's long-running sentiment survey spontaneously brought up tariffs, with most of them saying they expected prices to rise as a result, because most people understand what tariffs are. Regrettably, the guy starting them does not. And economists are worried that this is causing a lot of economic damage, and the economic damage is not necessarily going to be brief, even if the policies change. They're much more worried about his efforts to undermine the Fed's independence, which could obviously make it harder for the central bank to rein in inflation, because they want to actually rein in inflation. Trump just wants to declare that it's done. They're worried that by defunding universities and revoking student visas, the Trump administration will make the United States a less attractive place to do scientific research, robbing the country of an advantage that has helped power its world-leading growth since World War II. And so yeah, look, people are seeing it. That's good. The polls are against him. And we occasionally have Republicans willing to acknowledge who he is and what he's doing, as you'll see profiled here from CNN.
Ebersole was a Nikki Haley supporter, but reluctantly backed Trump in the end. 3 out of 5 is her first-year grade. The economy feels a little better, and illegal immigration is way down. But Trump's big Argentina beef bailout didn't feel so America first, nor does talk about somehow taking Greenland.
I don't agree with that in any way, shape, or form.
So that's not what you voted for?
No.
Ebersole's take on Washington: Trump picks too many fights. And people in Congress, she says, worry too much about money and power and too little about family farmers or finding compromise.
You're open to voting for a Democrat?
Of course. I think that you have to vote for the person that best meets your goals.
That seems very reasonable. And so it is a rare ray of light in an era that feels so utterly unreasonable. Sharon, what do you think?
I, again, think he's crazy because we all are feeling the burn here, okay? From gas to groceries. Forget about meat if you're interested. If you're a meat eater, you can go ahead and forget about that. Home prices, he dangles stupid stuff that we like, but I don't believe he's really going to do it. It's not going to go through, not the crowd he hangs with when he talks about how he's going to ban corporations from buying up all these homes and getting a tax break for it. It's deranged lunacy, but thank goodness more and more voters are, based on the polls, it seems, and recent history, recent elections from New York on, New Jersey, are saying things like, we can't even stomach this. You know, we were holding our nose, some of us. We were looking at the clock, embracing in the calendar, but November can't come soon enough, but we have to act before then. November might be too late, actually. I actually believe that. It might be too late.
What'll be left of Minneapolis by then,
What'll be left of it? Wow.
Yeah.